and out ladies. Guys, I'm back. It's another tips and tutorials with me, Kale. This segment is important because I feel like with the YouTube, we have a chance to not only just share what we do, share videos of us catching fish, hunting, whatever we're doing. We have a chance to teach. And that's why I really like this segment, tips and tutorials, because it kind of takes us away from the pond, away from fishing, and kind of gives us a way to just teach, you know. Today is important because we're going to be teaching about the beloved, probably, I think everybody's favorite bait that is an outlaw, be this here Texas rig. It's the Texas rig. You know, we love the Texas rig. We use the Texas rig a lot. It's one of my personal favorites. I think it's one of everybody's personal favorites. Everybody loves the Texas rig. Catches you a lot of fish. Power fisherman till the day I die. So, I'm going to take this, cut it off, because I'm going to show y'all how to properly do a Texas rig. So, I'm going to take my line, take my fishing line. I got some line here. I don't know, I think this is probably 17-pound test. I don't really remember what I put on this rod, but it was my Texas rig rod, so probably 17 or 20. I don't usually use anything under 17 for Texas rigs because typically I'm throwing Texas rigs in brush or in heavy cover where you got a lot of snags and a lot of things that can break you off. And I feel like every time I tie a Texas rig on, I could encounter a large bass. So I like to be very cautious with the line I use, because if you're trying to pull big bass out of the sticks, out of the brush, wherever you're at, it gets a little dicey on your line, and you don't want to lose that big boy. So you use heavier line. So I'm gonna get a different weight because my toothpick's stuck in that weight, and I'll get to that too. So I pull out my favorite box, the hooks, the weights, the jigs, the toothpick. Well, that's a big weight. I'm gonna use this here bullet weight. I'll clean it out real quick because it's got something in it. So for this, well, maybe I might be able to get through. So you take your bullet weight. I lost my line, and you take, it's invisible, so it's kind of hard to find. So you take your bullet weight and you take your line. You put it through the point. Hopefully I can get it through. There's a, oh, there we go. Yep, knock that little toothpick out. Drop it. Get that down the line a little ways. One thing you can do, you don't have to. It's not a necessity. Something I like to do sometimes is I take a little bead. This time, it's a little red bead. I've used different color beads, but red is probably my favorite. I got a green one in here. A couple more reds. Oh, there's another green. But I got the green one. You slide or I got the red one, sorry. You find the hole on that, and you slide your line right on through there, and you drop it right down to where that weight's at. So then, get my handy dandy. This, another tip. Hooks get all tangled up in your tackle boxes. It's not good. You don't like to dig through your hooks, get all poked. So just simply take a paper clip, and it's like a little hook hanger. They'll hang on there. Mine's not looking very organized, but they all just hang on there nice. They're not all getting hooked into each other because they're all facing the same way. Take a hook. This is a nice hook. Do not remember the size of this hook, but it's a pretty large one. It's good for creature baits. I usually use bigger hooks for creature baits, smaller hooks for worms because, well, it's just a matter of preference, I guess. And I'm going to drop that weight even further. I'm going to use the old polymer knot. Polymer knots are pretty good. I like to use them on my Texas rigs. Anyway, so I'm going to fold that line in half, give me plenty of slack. I think that's what it's called. If I'm mistaken, don't judge me because it doesn't really matter. It's a good knot. So you fold your line in half. So now I got 2 layers of line here. Take it, twist it back on through like you're tying a knot. This is where it gets its strength. When you pull it tight, you go around your hook. Oh, didn't get all the way around it. Oh no, okay. Guys, I'm not the smoothest knot tire. And you pull it, then you pull it tight. And now, you have a little polymer knot. And yeah, wet it. It's a tip I learned from Marvin. Shout out to Marvin. He taught me he always told me it was for good luck, but it's really just to get it tighter. And you just tighten that up. Get that, and then I gotta get my scissors. A lot of people like to cut all their excess line here. I like to leave a little bit because, say you don't have like it's a little slippy knot, slipping a little bit. You have a little bit of slipping room for it to slip and not totally untie. So, that being said, now I have a Texas rig, but what I do with my Texas rigs most of the time, especially when I'm using creature baits, take toothpick and I peg it. A lot of people get like actual pegs, which you could spend money on actual pegs, but I've always found a toothpick works just fine. You stuff the end in there, break it off, and now instead of it just sliding down your line, you have to pull it, and you can set it in places if you want it a little ahead. Depends on what kind of action, presentation you want. But the important thing, coming full circle here, since it is Heartland Outlaws and Heartland Fishing, and we do believe in rigging it right, rigging it tight, we have it rigged, and we have it tied tight. But the important thing is rigging up your creature bait right. So, for presentation purposes, a lot of creature baits have eyes on them. I don't know if you can see them. That is what's going to be on the top, because they're not going to be swimming with their eyes facing the ground, because that's just dumb. Now, it's little things that seem like they probably don't matter. That can be a difference maker when it comes to catching fish. So you're going to put it on there, go a couple rings down. Doesn't really, I don't know how much is the right way, and I did that backwards actually, so I'm already messed up, but I noticed it, so it's all good. You pull it back through here, take it all the way up to the top, to the seat, sit it on its seat. So now it's sitting on its seat, and then you find out, you use it, the curve in the hook to determine where you're going to stick it back through. So you stick it back through. Now look, it's sitting very nice and, well, most of the way, yeah, pretty straight here on my hook. And then the important part, because you're going to be in brush and you're going to be fishing some, not just clear open water, you want to tuck your hook. Don't ask Tate how to tuck your hook, because he doesn't tuck his hooks. But let me see if I can get this right. So you're going to take your hook, you pulled it through here, you're going to backtrack it a little bit, you're going to stuff it, it's hard to get this angle here, stuff it back in to your bait. So now your hook is tucked into your bait. Actually, it wasn't very straight. Let me straighten that out, because that does not look rigged right and tight. It was hard because I was trying to look into the camera. All right, now it's hooked right back into the little crease in the bait. If you go like this, you're not going to hook yourself. And this creates very weedless bait. It can go through weeds, it can go through trees, it can, I mean, you'll still get snagged every once in a while, but you can go through trees, you can go through weeds, and you're not getting snagged on everything. And then when the fish bites, and you set that hook's gonna, it's gonna press down on this, the hook's gonna pop out, and this is probably gonna slide down or off or whatever, and the hook goes into the fish's mouth, and yeah, you have a mondo on your line. Texas rig, it's very versatile. You don't have to use a creature bait on a Texas rig. You can use long worms, probably 10.5-inch gooseberries, which would be me and Logan's favorite bait of all time. You can tie a lot of different things onto a Texas rig. You can tie lizards, you can tie creatures, craws, worms, So many things. You can do different sizes, heavier weights for deeper waters or thicker weeds. You can do smaller hooks for smaller plastics. You don't have to use the bead. The bead just is a nice little touch. You can peg it. You don't have to peg it. There's just a lot of versatility for said Texas rig. It's a year-round type of bait. I use it in the spring a lot. I don't usually use this colorway. I like to use a black and blue or black and purple. In the summer, you can use, I usually use colors like this, lighter colors, green and brown, blue and green, a bunch of different things like that, you know. The fall, you know, I kind of fall back to the darker colors again, the purples, the blues, the blacks. In the winter, I guess here, you're not really using this because it's all frozen, but if you wanted to try to ice fish with this, good luck. And let me know how it works, because we tried ice fishing this year, did not know what we were doing, so I would like to know how to ice fish. But this is important. The Texas rig is a very important part of bass fishing, and it's something that every bass fisherman should have in their arsenal. They should all be able to tie on a nice tight Texas rig. They should be able to peg it, not peg it, and they should be able to rig it right and rig it tight. This right here, this is a very well rigged bait. It doesn't just happen. You got to practice to get rigging right and rigging tight, but it can be done. Tate's got some work to do. Logan's got it down. I got it down. Sorry, Tate. Don't mean to call you out so much. But this is important, and I hope now anybody that didn't know how to tie on a Texas rig or set up a Texas rig now does, and has a lot of success on it this year, next year, the year after that, every year to come. Hope you're catching 8-pounders, 10-pounders on them. And if you learned in this video from us, and you went out and caught something big, send it to the page on Instagram, the Heartland Outlaws, and we'll even feature you. We'll post a picture of you and your beautiful Mondo bass, and all be well. So thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I just taught you how to rig it right and rig it tight. And we love y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys learned something today. The most important thing, obviously. And we'll see you next time on Tips and Tutorials by the Heartland Outlaws. Peace out, guys. We love y'all.